Hi, I'm Rahel Philipose and you are listening to Three Things, the Indian Express News Show. In this episode, we talk about the Ludhiana Gas Leak disaster. We also quickly go through the update on Rahul Gandhi's defamation case. But first, we talk about Mann Ki Baat. On Sunday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's popular radio show Mann Ki Baat completed its 100th episode.
मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, नमस्कार। आज मन की बात का 100वां एपिसोड है। साथियों, 3 अक्टूबर 2014 विजयादशमी का वो पर्व था और हम सब ने मिलकर विजयादशमी के दिन मन की बात की यात्रा शुरू की थी। विजयादशमी यानी
The show first started in October 2014, a few months after Modi first came to power. And since then, every month, the Prime Minister has addressed the nation regularly through this program, which is translated by All India Radio into 22 Indian languages, 29 dialects, and 11 foreign languages apart from English.
It has created that popular, a leader who stands for us, leader who takes decisive measures. That image he has earned through Mann Ki Baat.
That is the Indian Express's Liz Mathew, who reports on the BJP for the paper. Today we speak to her about the significance of this popular program, and she begins by telling us why PM Modi decided to start Mann Ki Baat.
Prime Minister Modi always, which he says also, I remember even saying it in an interview with us in 2016, that he felt he is not so welcomed in Delhi. And he didn't believe so much in the mainstream media. So he wanted something else to kind of get connected with people and according to them to counter what the media says. Because for him, this media, which has been criticizing him for whatever reasons, that won't do justice to him. So he wanted his own one device or some method to reach out to and connect with the people.
And Liz says that he also noticed how other world leaders at the time, like former US President Barack Obama, would use different forms of media to reach out to people. And that inspired him to go beyond India's print and visual media and choose radio to broadcast his messages.
And also he wanted to reach out to the people in the rural areas where, the length and breadth of the country. So he seemed to have reached a conclusion that the radio is one device and one tool for me to reach out to people.
Now, while the US has a history of presidents using radio regularly to address citizens, Liz says that in India, we hadn't seen that much, except in a few instances.
Subhash Chandra Bose had used this from Germany. He wanted to reach out to the Indians abroad to get this kind of mobilize resources and mobilize support and solidarity for the Indian freedom movement. And, in 1942, there was something called Congress Radio that happened after Mahatma Gandhi gave this call for quit India, karenge ya marenge, like do or die. After that, one then student leader, Usha Mehta, had approached some amateur radio people and they started an underground radio. It was known as Azad Radio. Some people called it Congress Radio. Some people called it Ghost Radio because you didn't know where it was coming from. It for a few months only it ran, but basically used that medium to criticize the British Empire, talk about the atrocities the colonial forces were doing, and also the Indian freedom movement's messages, the leaders' messages.
But all this was pre-independence. She says that after that, prime ministers and presidents did use radio and television on special occasions, but no one has used it as much as Prime Minister Modi.
No political leader used it to convey his message or to reach out to the people from his personal point of view and to give his point of view. It is Modi for the first time.
And if we look at the show from the beginning, the Prime Minister has talked about a whole range of issues on the show. Like in the first episode, he talked about the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan.
मैंने कल एक बात कही थी स्वच्छ भारत अभियान में कि मैं 9 लोगों को निमंत्रित करूंगा और वे खुद सफाई करते हुए अपनी वीडियो को सोशल मीडिया में अपलोड करेंगे और वे और 9 लोगों को निमंत्रित करेंगे। आप भी इसमें जुड़िए, आप सफाई कीजिए।
Later, he would go on to speak on topics like climate change, COVID-19, the sacrifices that our soldiers make, and the importance of farmers in the country.
मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, हमारे यहाँ कहा जाता है, जो जमीन से जितना जुड़ा होता है वो बड़े से बड़े तूफानों में भी उतना ही अड़िग रहता है। कोरोना के इस कठिन समय में हमारा कृषि क्षेत्र, हमारा किसान इसका जीवंत उदाहरण है। संकट के इस काल में भी हमारे देश के कृषि क्षेत्र ने फिर अपना दमखम दिखाया है। साथियों, देश का
And Liz highlights that one thing that PM Modi always kept in mind was never to make an address overtly political.
You know, Prime Minister Modi is a person who has traveled across the country as a pracharak, and he knew, how in the villages and the rural areas people talk and how they think. Like, for example, if somebody is coming out as some big leader coming out and telling you, okay, you and your sister is having a fight and this is what you think. If somebody is saying that, you really feel relate to him, you feel connected to him. He used the same thing in that psychological approach. Like, he used to talk like what the villagers would say. Like, for example, if there is a cloud in the sky, how the farmer think. If it is a drought, he will be happy. If it is not, it's a crop time, harvest time, he'll be unhappy. So PM will address those emotions and all. That actually helped him to connect with the masses.
Another important thing to note here is that he has never used the platform to attack or criticize any opposition party or leader, though he has used it to counter false propaganda. Here Liz gives an example.
When the language issue came, the Hindi imposition accusation and the Tamilian parties have protested. Almost all the South Indian parties have protested when there was an attempt from the center government, especially the Home Ministry, to impose Hindi. That's the word they used, like to insist on Hindi usage and like even as a medium for official communication and all. Later they clarified it, but I remember he went on to radio and talked about how good and how rich is the Tamil language and the diversity and the need to respect the diversity of India and the languages and their greatness and the rich contribution each language had made to the Indian culture. At a time, the BJP was accused of imposing Hindi. The Prime Minister's message was very clear about the India's diversity in terms of language also.
साथियों, हमारे देश में कई सारी भाषाओं, लिपियां और बोलियों का समृद्ध खजाना है। अलग अलग क्षेत्रों में अलग अलग पहनावा, खान पान और संस्कृति, ये हमारी पहचान है। ये डाइवर्सिटी, ये विविधता एक राष्ट्र के रूप में हमें अधिक सशक्त करती है और एकजुट रखती है। हमारे देश में कई ऐसे लोग भी हैं जो देश की भाषाई विविधता को मजबूत करने का काम कर रहे हैं।
So like that, in some of the Mann Ki Baat, he tried to kind of clear the air indirectly. It sounded like a political thing. It was always like something about the society.
Now, in the last 9 years, the show has become very popular, particularly in rural India. Liz says this is because Modi started asking for people's suggestions on the issues they think he should cover in his address.
Initially, it was very monologue. Then he has started inviting instructions or directions or whatever advices from the listeners to what I should speak. Then AR people used to get those and they used to send it to PM and he would listen to them. He would also try to implement it or talk about those issues in his speech. Another thing, here the most important thing is radio is a medium where you will get rapt attention. It's like we say, the attention span is very short, like on a Twitter or even other social media thing. The attention span is very short. But most of his listeners listen to his address from the beginning to the end.
And she says what helped was that Prime Minister also started featuring common people on the show. This further increased the overall reach of Mann Ki Baat.
Around 730 people figured, common citizens figured in his Mann Ki Baat editions in the past. So obviously, they feel happy about it. The people around the area will happy about it. So it's like, it's a chain reaction. Like even if I am not a listener to Mann Ki Baat regularly, when I hear that my village is being referred, so I will listen to it next week. Then obviously it will become a habit for me too. So apparently there was a survey by IIM that they say that 23 crore people are regular listeners of Mann Ki Baat. So obviously it's very popular. No television channel, no program, not even a movie will this kind of reach, and it is beyond all those mediums and all those messages.
And seeing the rising popularity, Liz says that the BJP has now started featuring the show in their party programs, even though this was not the original intent of the show. But more than the BJP, Mann Ki Baat has helped in building PM Modi's image and popularity.
Anyway, PM Modi is identified with BJP, and it is more than BJP's popularity, it is Modi's popularity. And Mann Ki Baat played a very, very significant and key role in PM Modi getting that connect with people. So here now anybody, like I just returned from Karnataka, even the rural areas, Modi is popular. Whether they will vote for BJP for Modi in this state election, we do not know. But Modi is popular. When it comes to 2024, they all know it is Modi's election. So that is the difference. That is what he earned from, and through him, the BJP has earned with the Mann Ki Baat.
And next we talk about the gas leak in Ludhiana. On Sunday, a toxic gas leak in the industrial city of Punjab resulted in the death of 11 people, including 2 children. Now, it is suspected that the leak came from a partially open manhole and spread to the nearby locality, causing this disaster. Shortly after the incident, the local authorities evacuated people and sealed access to the area. While the National Disaster Response Force, or NDRF, was also brought in later to assess the situation. The Indian Express's Divya Goyal, who reported on the incident for the paper, speaks to my colleague Utsa Sarmin about what caused the toxic gas leak and the subsequent police action.
So Divya, what do we know about what exactly led to this gas leak?
Yeah, so on Sunday morning, there were reports that people were getting unconscious on Sua Road in Gyaspura area of Ludhiana. It is a very thickly populated area with lots of industries, residences, and a lot of migrant population from Uttar Pradesh and Bihar who work in the factories of Ludhiana. Ludhiana is an industrial city. So there were reports that people were feeling sick, and many of them were lying on the ground struggling for life. And by the time police and NDRF and other rescue teams reached there, almost 11 of them had already died, which included 2 children aged 11 and 13. So the deceased included 5 people from one family, 3 people from one family, and others. That is how the police and other teams came into action, and the entire area was sealed off in Gyaspura.
Right, and it is suspected that the leak came from a partially open manhole. Can you tell us why that was suspected?
Yeah, so I spoke to one of the survivors. He lost 3 members of his family. He owns a grocery store in the area. So he was in his shop when a woman customer came, and she said that very bad smell was coming. He also felt that smell, but that woman, she suddenly covered her face with the cloth, so she was saved. But the shopkeeper, he got unwell, he got unconscious, and he started calling out his mother. By the time the mother came downstairs from their residence, which was upstairs, he had already got unconscious. And in the meantime, his mother, his brother, and his brother's wife, who came downstairs to check on him, they had also fainted, and all 3 of them died. The shopkeeper survived because he was taken to the hospital. So by the time police and other rescue teams reached there, it was found that there was a partially open manhole near the spot, and it is still a suspicion that the gas might have come from there. It is still not confirmed. But after the NDRF teams reached the spot, they used the sensors, which found that high concentration of hydrogen sulfide was there. It is a toxic gas which is generally produced in sewers. But then to kill 11 people, the concentration of it has to be great, overwhelming. And this is being checked that if it was actually hydrogen sulfide which caused the deaths, or there were other gases too. The samples have been taken from manholes and they have been sent for testing.
And what do the authorities have to say about the possible reason behind this, about why such a heavy concentration of hydrogen sulfide gas was present in the air?
So according to police and PPCP officials, there can be 2 possibilities. One possibility is that either the sewer lines, they were not cleaned since months. The Ludhiana Municipal Corporation did not clean them properly. That is why the methane, hydrogen sulfide and other marsh gases which are produced in the sewers, they were in overwhelming quantity due to lack of cleanliness, and the entire sewer had almost choked. This is one possibility. The other possibility that police is suspecting is that Gyaspura, where the incident happened, is an industrial area. There are many industries. So the other suspicion is that some industry hidingly dumped their industrial waste into the municipal sewers, which led to the production of this toxic gas. And the police has registered an FIR against unknown persons for dumping industrial waste illegally into the sewers, and police is trying to find if there is any industry nearby which did this act. And yesterday only, police commissioner said that if PPCB, that is the pollution board officials, if they will not cooperate with the police and tell that which industries in the area were not following the norms, then PPCB officials will also be booked in the FIR.
Right. So the PPCB, which is the Punjab Pollution Control Board, they will be held accountable because they are in charge of making sure that the industries are following safety protocols.
Absolutely. Mandeep Sidhu, the commissioner, said that PPCB is the nodal agency to check that industries are following the norms or not. It is the PPCB which knows that which industry was dumping its waste legally and which was putting it in sewers, putting lives of people at stake. And if PPCB will not help the police in tracing those defaulting industries, then PPCB officials will also be booked in the FIR. And right now the FIR is against the unknown persons, and as soon as police will find that some people will be held accountable or their responsibility will be fixed, then their names will be nominated to the FIR.
Okay, now coming back to the locality where the gas leaked, can you tell us what is the situation there right now?
Yeah, so things are coming back to normalcy because yesterday, police and administration, they reduced the cordon off area from 250 meters to 50 meters only because the sewage lines and the drains, they have been decontaminated by putting caustic soda. And now the hydrogen sulfide concentration is not there. It has been eliminated. And people are back to their homes who were asked to leave for some time. They are back. And out of the 11 people who died, the family of 5, they basically belong to Bihar. So their bodies were taken to Bihar by their relatives for the last rites. And another family was also from Bihar. Their bodies were also taken to Bihar. And yesterday, 3 people were cremated in Ludhiana. So basically, we can say that in Ludhiana, those families have nothing left now because they are back to their native states for last rites.
And Divya, has the Punjab government or even the Bihar government announced any compensation for the families of the victims?
Yeah. The Punjab government had announced 2 lakh for the kin of each deceased and 50,000 for the injured. Similar amount was announced by PM Narendra Modi under the PM Relief Fund. And also the CM of Bihar, Nitish Kumar, he has also announced compensation for the deceased who belong to Bihar.
Right, and Divya, based on what experts say, could this disaster have been avoided?
Yeah, so we can safely say that this disaster was entirely man-made and completely avoidable. Whatever the police probe finds, either it is an industry which dumped the waste or whether it was the MC that did the negligence in cleaning the sewer line, the point is that the toxic gas which led to neurotoxicity and so many deaths, it was entirely produced because there was some human failure. There was a failure to check the lines which were not clean. There was a failure to check the industries which are completely run by humans. And it happened right under the nose of the administration and Punjab Pollution Control Board, which is the nodal body to check that industries don't dump their waste in an unsafe manner. So yeah, it is an entirely man-made disaster and we have already lost 11 lives and people who are living in that area, they are still on tenterhooks all the time and there is no guarantee that it will not happen again.
And finally, we talk about Rahul Gandhi's defamation case in the Gujarat High Court. Yesterday, the Gujarat High Court refused to grant Congress leader Rahul Gandhi interim relief on his plea for a stay of conviction in the criminal defamation case over his Modi surname remark. For context, the High Court was hearing Gandhi's appeal against the Sessions Court order last month, which refused to stay his conviction in the 2019 defamation case. In March, a trial court in Surat convicted and sentenced Gandhi to 2 years in jail over his remarks about the Modi surname. He said, "How come so many thieves share the same common last name Modi during a rally in Karnataka in the run-up to the 2019 Lok Sabha elections?"
अच्छा, एक छोटा सा सवाल, इन सब के नाम, इन सब चोरों के नाम मोदी 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 कैसे हैं? नीरव मोदी, ललित मोदी, नरेंद्र मोदी, और अभी थोड़ा ढूंढेंगे तो और बहुत सारे मोदी निकलेंगे.
And after getting convicted, he was also disqualified as the Lok Sabha MP. After the Sessions Court refused to stay his conviction, Gandhi moved to the High Court. And on the second day of the hearing, the court said the verdict would only be pronounced after the summer vacation. The High Court is set to close for summer vacation from May 8th to June 8th, and Justice Hemant Prachak, who is heading the bench that is hearing the case, will be unavailable from May 4th as he is travelling outside the country. Gandhi's counsel, senior advocate Abhishek Manu Singhvi, requested interim relief after the judge indicated the expected timeline of the final verdict. But Justice Prachak said he wished to go through the entire trial proceedings record in the case that occurred before the Surat Magistrate Court before pronouncing the final order and has now called for the same. You were listening to 3 Things by the Indian Express. Today's show was hosted by me, Rahel Philipose, and written and produced by Anwiti Singh, Shashank Bhargava, and Utsa Sarmin, who spoke to Liz for the first episode. It was edited and mixed by Suresh Pawar. If you like the show, then do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also recommend the show to someone who you think will like it. Share it with a friend or someone in your family. It's the best way for people to get to know about us. You can also tweet us at Express Podcasts and write to us at podcasts@indianexpress.com.